Bob Williams, a crack user, called me years ago and asked me to interview him.
The reason I called you was I felt that the story of crack had to be told in such a way that people would see its effect, its devastating effects on the young people of our communities. My own personal experience with crack has been one of, how could I say, complete madness. My first 9 months in using crack, I spent over $50,000, which included...
Say that again, please.
My first 9 months of involvement with crack, I've spent over $50,000.
$50,000?
$50,000.
Where did you get this kind of money from?
Well, some of it was money that I had saved up. I was currently working as an engineer for a communications firm, earning $35,000 a year. I would spend my entire paycheck in one night on crack. So after my pay was gone, I would go to the bank and I started to deplete my savings.
Who turned you on to crack?
An old girlfriend of mine, one evening, had invited me to take a ride with her. And we did so, and she bought some crack. And we went back to her place, and she began to smoke and asked me if I wanted to try it. So at first I was a little bit reluctant, but then I said, all right, well, I'll give it a try. And my very first night, I believe I spent $60. The next morning, I was at the bank's door before it opened, and I spent another $400.
Tell me what it was like, that first blast.
It's unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life. It's really, there's not even any words really to describe it. It's a feeling so intense and so pleasurable that I've seen it cause people to spend their last penny. I've seen people spend their rent money, their food money, their everything.
You mean from that first time you were gone?
Yes. That first hit, to me, was so immense and so unlike anything I'd ever had in my life that I just had to try it again.
Had you ever had any involvement with drugs leading up to then?
Well, having lived in California for a few years and having been with the Hollywood set, I had tried cocaine on occasion. And crack is something that will cause you to put cocaine down. Crack is so much more of a high to it, so much more of a rush that most people who start using crack usually stop sniffing cocaine.
You make a big distinction between crack and cocaine, don't you?
So to speak. They're really the same drug, but it's how it's administered. Cocaine being sniffed and entering the blood system through the nasal and mucous membranes of the nose. Crack is smoked, inhaled into the lungs, and therefore in 5 to 10 seconds causes an immense rush to the head.
You say the Hollywood set. Without naming names, what kind of scene did you get into out there?
Well, I attended parties in Hollywood where cocaine was passed around in bowls like they were hors d'oeuvres. They were all kinds of different brands of marijuana, reefers, whatever you want to call them, in 5-pound cigar boxes. And it was just like you were at a party, but the hors d'oeuvres were drugs.
These are actors and actresses?
Yes.
Names? Some named people?
Some named people on some top-rated shows.
And you just dived right into this whole set?
Well, not really. I just kind of eased into it. And once you do, you know, it was the in thing to do. And all of Hollywood was ablaze with it. So if you didn't, you were more of an outcast, I guess, than if you did.
And then you came back east.
I came back east.
Still hadn't heard about crack yet.
Still hadn't heard about crack yet. I think Richard Pryor's experience was really opened up a lot of people's eyes to what freebasing was all about. And crack is more so a marketing technique by the pushers. They package it pretty well these days, and it makes it a little bit more appealing. But it's basically the same thing.
And so you say that after that first night of $60, you went back to the bank the next morning, got
the next morning, spent another $400, and my checking account was consistently overdrawn. I would go to the cash machine and take out my maximum for the day, and I would go to the bank and cash a check against money that the bank thought I still had, and my account was constantly overdrawn, and it stayed that way. I'm self-employed now. because I've been unable to hold a job. I recently had a job that was paying me $33,000 a year, and it lasted 2 weeks. My first 2 weeks.
Wait a minute. Tell me what happened with this job.
Well, I reported to work on Monday. On Tuesday, I made a mistake of stopping at the crack house before I went to work. So I was absent Tuesday. I was absent Wednesday. I figured, well, I better shape up or I won't be here much longer. So Thursday and Friday, I went to work. The following Monday, after a short job I had to do, I said, well, I'll stop for a minute and I'll get one and I'll go back to work. I didn't get back to work till Wednesday. So, of course, by Wednesday, it's... and that Friday was my last day.
This is the $35,000 a year job?
Yes.
With an expense account?
Yes.
Car?
Yes.
And you just blew it?
Just like that.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I have a portable skill which I could go out tomorrow and get another job if I wanted to. I feel bad about it. Well, I'm into electronics and telecommunications, and I've been in the telecommunications industry about 9 years now. So when I'm not working full-time for an employer, I work for myself, doing consulting and other jobs, installation.
What specific skill do you have in telecommunications? What do you do?
Well, I'm trained as what they call a switchman. I oversee telephone company electric offices, well, switching systems. When you pick up your telephone and make a phone call, it goes to a central office at the phone company. Well, that piece of equipment at the phone company that does all the switching of these telephone calls is which I maintain. The person who tries to work and maintain themselves with a situation such as crack, the two just don't mix. It's like water and oil.
Am I to conclude that you're finished with it?
No, don't conclude that. I probably now, on the average, spend $100 a day.
It's about 2 o'clock now. Have you had any today?
Not yet. Not yet. But you can believe when I leave here, it's probably be my next stop.
Now, you're a well-educated man. You have some experience in engineering.
Yes.
You have earning power, obviously.
Right.
Why would you be fooling with this stuff? You can stand by and see what's happening to your own life, can't you?
I used to say the same thing. I used to witness people, and even people who were close to me, have their lives destroyed by it. And I used to witness people sit in these places and spend their last penny. And I say to them, how could you do such a thing, But once you have tried it, you become the anchor banker, you understand. It's that much of a feeling or a sensation that it has wrecked lives, careers, broken up homes. It's just something you can't really describe.
What kind of shape is your life in now?
Well, I've been a little bit more fortunate than most that I have a roof over my head. Some people who are into crack usually pay their rent months in advance so they don't get evicted, the smart ones. Because believe me, brother, if whatever money you have in your pocket you walk in there with, you're not going to walk out with it. So
how much do you have on you now?
A little over $200.
And you're going to blow all of that?
In about an hour and a half.
What's the most you've used in a day?
The most I ever spent was $1,300 in 6 hours.
$1,300?
$1,300 in 6 hours. I can't even describe it. I defy anyone to try and tell me it's the most pleasurable thing that they've ever experienced in their life. However, I would never tell anyone to take it. But once they have, I dare them to tell me that it's not the best feeling they've ever had.
You love it, don't you?
Well, I don't know if I'd say I'd love it, but
well, if it's the best feeling you've ever had, you know what most people automatically think.
Right.
And it's better than that?
Yes. It's better than that.
Then you must love it.
It's nice.
Now, I'm going to come down hard on you. Crack has made you its punk, hasn't it? It's got you running. It's got your nose open.
Right.
And it's your master.
Yeah.
You admit that, just like that.
Sure. Some people won't. I know a lot of people who are undercover crack users or in the closet, but I have no qualms about saying that.
Do you know anybody who uses crack and controls crack rather than vice versa?
No. Crack is the boss. They will make you crack up. Crack is the boss. When you take that hit, that second voice that starts talking to you, is now in control. You're not yourself anymore.
You get up in the morning and that's the first thing you think about?
Sometimes I dream about it. I've seen security guards in crack houses. I've seen transit workers in uniform in crack houses. And I guess it disturbs them not to be there because they are there sitting, smoking away. I've seen people come from New Jersey, go to a crack house, gas tank on empty, and can't even get home. I've seen people go to lunch and never go back to work. I personally have smoked crack in Harlem Hospital in the ladies' room with a girlfriend of mine who used to work there. I've seen women who will come to a crack house with their children and have them wait outside, 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Have the children wait outside?
Wait outside. Children 4, 5, and 6 years old are standing outside waiting for their mothers, and their mothers are inside smoking on this crack. I've seen a girl one day brought her baby to the crack house, and she was in such a rush to get high that she couldn't wait 20 minutes to cash her check. She pawned her child to the crack man and says, "Please give me a dime. I'll be back in 20 minutes, hold my baby."
Pawned her child?
Yes, for $10.
Bob Williams died not long after the interview I did with him.